This is CBC Windsor News. I'm Chris Ensign. Katarina's away tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're looking at a day one of new border rules and why a lack of affordable housing can be a problem for people trying to leave abusive relationships. But we're going to start with people who are facing a Boxing Day eviction notice. The CBC's Pratush Tayal tells us why.
It won't be a Merry Christmas for at least 8 residents of Caldwell First Nation Reserve near Leamington, as they're being asked to take down the security cameras or face eviction Boxing Day.
This is our home. We have a right to be here.
For Mary and Kenny, moving to Caldwell First Nation was quite literally coming home. Her dad passed away when she was 4 without knowing he was from Caldwell, and it was a long journey to get to this point.
So I get to walk, right, where my father should have walked, should have been walking.
But now, another hurdle for her and others. They tell me they had verbal permissions to install these cameras, but still received 2 notices from the council to take them down. Those notices cited structural damage from putting up the cameras and complaints about privacy as the reasons.
The reason why we don't know, we never seen any complaints. We never heard anybody verbally complain to us about it. So, it's like, what are we supposed to believe?
CBC reached out multiple times to the chief and council for a comment but didn't hear back. The group says there are no rules they are aware of around installing cameras.
We're just trying to protect what's ours.
John Snellgrove says someone has been puncturing their blow-up globe that now has holes in it. The group says at least 1 reported break-in in the community and crime in nearby Leamington warrant a camera for personal safety.
That's what my camera sees.
The group is fighting to stay, but says it's taking a toll.
I feel sadness. There's a lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety.
Pratish Dayal, CBC News, Caldwell First Nation.
People are struggling to find affordable places to live in Windsor. Limited options could mean people in desperate situations at home have nowhere to turn to. The CBC's Jennifer Lagrassa on the connection between affordable housing and intimate partner violence.
We constantly hear about the need for affordable housing. That's housing that costs someone 30% or less of their income. In a recent report for our region, it found that over the past year, there were no available 1-bedroom units that were affordable. Some shelter providers say that this is a big issue for women who are trying to leave violent or abusive relationships.
We talk all the time about the experience of women who are couch surfing, who are moving back in with abusive partners, or, living in homelessness.
A letter from the Legal Assistance of Windsor to the city last month said that intimate partner violence is a growing problem here. It's seen an overwhelming demand for service, helping more than 320 survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault in the past 2 years. Affordable housing, it emphasized, is what's keeping people from leaving violent relationships. New rental units were being built, this report finds, but they were mostly outside of the city. These units were also only affordable to the area's highest income renters. One shelter provider says that this is really forcing people to make sacrifices.
You're seeing families that are staying in substandard housing, who are in core housing need, staying in units that require deep levels of repair. You're seeing families who might require 3, 4, 5 bedroom who are actually staying in 1-bedroom apartments. And we know overall that there's health ramifications to that.
Without access to good, low-cost housing, people's mental and physical health is impacted, but so is their employment and their education. The solution? More affordable housing. Until then, shelter providers say that it would be good to work with private landlords to educate and encourage them to rent to people on subsidized incomes, and also to get more temporary or transitional housing, a place where people can stay as they get back on their feet. Jennifer Lagrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
An animal rehabilitation center says they're tracking positive cases of bird flu in Windsor, Essex. The lab results have come back on several birds at Wings Rehab Center, and they want people to be cautious around injured or dead birds. Now, it's primarily waterfowl that have tested positive, according to the center. Those results show that they've had cases of highly pathogenic avian influenza. They do not mention the specific strain. Here's how staff at Wings Rehab who care for birds are showing up to work, full PPE, trying to minimize any risks of an outbreak. The health unit says there have been no confirmed transmissions to humans in our region. The battle over the border continues to dominate the Canada-U.S. relationship. Today marks the end of an immigration loophole that a Windsor expert says he's shocked has lasted this long. CBC's Dawson Chen on the end of flag polling.
Did you know there's a loophole for those seeking immigration to Canada that can avoid months of wait time for study permits? It's called flag polling. And now the federal government is saying no more. The practice of flag polling has been going on for years. Someone who has temporary status crosses the border to the U.S., returns to Canada the same day, and obtains immigration services at a point of entry. That means they can get a worker's study permit a lot faster than filing with Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. International land crossings like the ones at Windsor, Detroit have been especially useful to flag pollers. But not anymore. As of December 24th, the Canada Border Services Agency says it is no longer providing permits to flag pollers. The federal government says the practice has been taking up resources that should be focused on border enforcement. Eddie Kadri, a Windsor-based immigration lawyer, says the change has been long overdue.
It's a step in the right direction, but quite frankly, I'm shocked that it took this long. You know, ports of entry were really being bogged down by processing these applications that should have otherwise been diverted inland. And they have a difficult job to do at the port of entry. And the last thing you want is filling up their day with study permit applications for students. The processing time for applications has really ballooned out of control. We need to address the disease and not the symptoms of the disease. We have an immigration system that needs to be completely reimagined, reinvented.
CBSA says that from April 2023 to March 2024, they processed more than 69,000 flag pollers across Canada. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Over the last few weeks, we've talked a lot about our Make the Season Kind campaign. It's an initiative to help collect food and money for local area food banks, and the tally's been growing. The success due to people like you and groups like Beer League Hockey Practice, which heard about our cause and spontaneously stepped up to help. For many days in a row now, the group has rolled in several boxes for this food drive, and that piqued our curiosity about the league. Well, it turns out the Beer League Hockey Practice runs a school that offers adults who dreamed of playing hockey but never actually had a chance to play a place to learn the game. Producer Sonia Varma dropped in during one of the practices to see what exactly the Beer League Hockey Practice is all about.
It's Sunday night, 9 p.m. Pajama time for a lot of us. Not these folks. They're all novice hockey players. No matter the time, they're eager to get on the ice.
Hockey is an awesome sport, but it's a difficult sport. I think the common denominator with a lot of these people is that they haven't had a chance to play hockey growing up. It's relatively new for them. And because it's a difficult sport, sometimes it's difficult, there's barriers to entry.
Take Sam Gilboa and CJ Mulder, both in their 30s, both with partners who play hockey, both with a long-held desire to play themselves.
I grew up watching my brother play hockey and everything, and I watch hockey, so I live, breathe hockey, but I never did it myself. So it was finally time for myself to do it, and I was like, why not?
It's hard because there's not a lot of leagues that are co-ed learning leagues especially, but it's so worth it because then you get so much out of it.
The Beer League Hockey Practice has been in Windsor for about 4 years now. Coach Dave says it's helped people from all walks of life.
I think our oldest player is 76 years old. Like I said, we have a lot of adults who really dreamed of playing hockey as a kid and didn't have a chance for whatever reason. So now this is their opportunity as adults to get back into the game.
Mark Ladbrook is from New Zealand. His teenage son is at a hockey academy here in Windsor. After years on the sideline, he's learning to play.
I just keep thinking, oh, I've got to give this a go. And some other parents that have played back home were like, oh, you need to give it a go, you need to give it a go. And eventually, yeah, I thought, why not? Let's just do it.
There's no judgment on this rink. It's all about supporting each other and community. And each night when they come to practice, they bring their gear and some food to donate.
This week, we said to them, in the last couple of weeks actually, we said, let's support CBC's, kind initiative for collecting food for the homeless. So they've done a great job with that. You know, they've dug in their pantries, you know, like they dig deep in the corner for those pucks, and they've really stepped their game up.
So the best way that I would describe the beer league is it's pretty much like the movie The Mighty Ducks. How they're on the ice just for the fun of it. It's not an extreme competition. Even if your team does lose, everybody's a winner.
It's about lifting each other up, and if they can, others along the way. Sonia Varma, CBC News, Windsor.
Cool group of people we got there. Cool guy coming here right now, Chris Potter with a live look at the forecast. You were right yesterday. Ugly stuff after the show. Gray day today. What's the forecast looking like now?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a mild day today, Chris. It wasn't snowy. Our weather map right now not really showing what we showed 24 hours ago. Obviously, that system is long gone, but this cloud cover continues to remain in place. We're locked in with a lot of cloud, a few flurries trickling in off of Lake Huron. Temperatures, though, holding around 0 to 1 in most areas, and we're going to hold around -2 for the overnight, 0 for the morning. You'll notice a lot of cloud. The only thing you might see is a few snowflakes here and there, and then for the afternoon, some sunny breaks with highs near 2. We do warm up for the rest of this work week, reduce for a lot of folks. Chris, we'll talk about that coming up.
All right, thanks, Chris. Now, we cover a lot of stories here at CBC Windsor, and people are very generous with their time and sharing their lives with us, opening up, being vulnerable. We've been asking our colleagues to do these reporters' notebooks, reflecting on the stories they've covered. Here's host Katerina Georgieva's reflections on a story that stuck with her this year.
I'm Katerina Georgieva, the host of CBC Windsor News at 6, and I want to talk about a story that resonated with me this year that I got to cover about a son here in the Windsor area who has been banned from his mother's long-term care home for over a year now. The home said that they had issued that ban because of a safety issue. They had found him to be threatening to staff, but the son believes that he was banned from his mother's home because he'd been advocating for her care. And it was a bit of a complicated story to cover because I had to figure out, well, what does the law say? How are the rights of the senior being protected? What rights do they have? What rights don't they have? What rights does the home have? What rights don't they have? So there are just a lot of layers here because we're dealing with an elderly person and their rights versus a business, and then versus the power of attorney. And there are a lot of layers and laws that are intersecting that make it a very complicated issue. And this is something that advocates have been trying to address because it turns out that this is happening actually to a lot of families across Ontario where people feel like they are speaking out about the care of their loved ones, and then this is how seniors' homes have been responding. And again, there are disagreements between the homes and between the families about why this is happening. But certainly this resonated with a lot of readers, a lot of viewers. I received a lot of emails from people who said, hey, this has been happening to me too. And just a lot of people who resonated with the emotional parts of this story. So it certainly felt like an important story to get out there because the impact was wide-ranging, and certainly something that a lot of people can relate to because we all have loved ones who are later in life who we love and care about and want to make sure that they are taken care of.
We've got an update on that story here as well for you. He decided that he would attempt to see his mother in her long-term care home, notifying police of his intentions, and was told that the trespass order had been revoked Friday. After more than a year, Simon visited his mother.
It felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, like I could finally go visit her. I think she knew someone was there to see her when I was talking to her. But she just wasn't alert. I spoke to her as much as I could, and at times it looked like she was trying to open her eyes. Unfortunately, our parents are only getting older. My mom's getting older, my father, and it's nice to have your family around during the holidays.
Now, the village at St. Clair, where his mother's residing, didn't comment on why or when the trespass order was lifted, but in an email response says that it's pleased whenever family can come together, and they've always worked to ensure meaningful visits can occur even when there have been challenges. We take a live look outside there. We see a bit of the mistiness that's out there on this Christmas Eve. We've got more stories coming back after the break. Something to think about here, whether you're shopping online for a last-minute gift or a Boxing Day deal, protecting yourself against the latest cyber threats, well, that should go hand in hand with these types of devices. CBC's Angela McIver has some tips to help keep you safe.
Just about every smart device has not only Wi-Fi, but also cameras and microphones that make us vulnerable to cyber criminals. Then there's Bluetooth.
Try to stay away from Bluetooth connections unless it's needed. It should be on. When it is not needed, it should be off.
This computer science expert says there are many ways Bluetooth can be used to hack your devices. One way to protect yourself is to avoid continuous Bluetooth connections, like a wireless keyboard and mouse. And when it comes to any device with a Wi-Fi connection that includes home electronics such as a smart TV, turn off microphones and cover up any cameras.
You cannot add layers and layers of security on them to protect these devices and therefore protect your home networks, office networks. So that creates an easy point to hack into and collect personal information, and that creates another way of scamming opportunity for the attackers.
When shopping online, the biggest tip is to avoid using public Wi-Fi when making payments.
Either VPN or wait till you get home, or actually switch back and do it from your mobile device, because the mobile network then isn't using public Wi-Fi, and it's using the cellular network, which is actually encrypted.
Another no-no is saving your credit card information on websites, even if they're well-known legitimate businesses. Since data breaches happen all the time, experts say it's worth the extra 30 seconds to enter your information manually, just to be safe. Angela McIver, CBC News, Halifax.
Well, from some new age fears to some old school charm here, one of the things that helps you get in that right frame of mind for holidays is the decorations, lights, tinsel, and the window painting. Earlier this month, the CBC caught up with a window painter who was busy painting the town white in Riverside.
Hi, I'm Christy Lickster, and today we're going to talk about holiday window murals. It's not hard to get me in the holiday spirit. I love Christmas, so it's funny because I have done windows many times before, but I hadn't ever coordinated an effort between other artists to do windows. And so I wanted to make it as simple as possible. I knew that we'd be able to do it in acrylic markers. So I've actually been doodling on my windows at home for the last few weeks. Yesterday, my husband comes out, he's like, what happened? And there's just doodles all over everything. So I've been in the Christmas spirit. I talked to Laura, who is the chair of the BAA. They were very interested in having windows done, all white, and they wanted it to be cohesive through the entire BAA. So we hired in 3 other artists and myself, and we've just been spending the last week doodling all over the windows in the BAA. Before, businesses were kind of taking care of doing their own artwork. The BAA really wanted to do something that more businesses could be involved, so they actually funded this whole project, and people jumped on. I think we have 18 businesses plus a Legion in total. One of my main passions is to make sure that artists get cool gigs, get notoriety in our city, and get paid. Too many times artists think that they have to do stuff like this for next to nothing or free just to be able to get people to see them. And I don't want that. And the way we kept them cohesive is I actually mocked up a bunch of motifs, sent them to the artists, sent them a sample little quick window of this is kind of what they're thinking, but you do you, and just try to keep some of these motifs in your drawings so that way it looks cohesive. So as you walk down the street, you're gonna see similar little doodles, but everybody does it differently. We all have our own look, but they all work together as a team. So we're just here at Bergeron Art and Frame, and obviously we need to do something with a frame, so we did a really cute little holiday frame. We tried to, in every business, include a little bit of little hints about what the business is all about. So here at Formerly Yours, this was done by Haley. It's a cute door. They just obviously didn't want to cover their window up too much because that's where they keep their merchandise. So she did really cute little dresses, shopping bags. And then here at Baker's, this amazing window included some hamburgers, a little ho ho ho. I think this one turned out spectacular.
Love seeing that joy spread throughout the city. Stick around, the full forecast is next. Welcome back. Chris Potter here live. Christmas Eve, you told us a bit of a warm-up on the way here, eh?
Yeah, 100%, Chris. And I have to ask before you go right now, did you finish that Christmas shopping?
We got Christmas shopping is done. People at Staples hate me, but we figured it out.
You did it. You're a hero, my friend. And
I'm looking up to you, man. You got it settled as well.
A little early. And you know what? Looking at some of the malls around there, they weren't as busy today as I thought that they would be. So maybe they did like me instead of you, and they finished it early. But hey, good on you. In terms of the weather, good on Mother Nature. If you're not a fan of the cold, we are going to be warming up for the rest of this week and especially into this coming weekend. Daytime highs today, we're actually quite comfortable. 2 degrees in Windsor, 2 in Sarnia, 2 as well in London, 1 in Toronto, -5 in Ottawa. Currently, temperatures are still holding around that 0-degree mark. There's not going to be a dramatic drop in temperatures tonight. The winds are going to be light, but there's still a lot of cloud, which acts like a blanket, but it's also trapping a lot of moisture right at the surface. So it's going to be a little damp feeling, if you will. The only thing that we're going to see is maybe a few flurries, maybe some patchy freezing drizzle. Other than that, it's really just a story about cloud cover, which as we take a look at the outlook, we'll hold on. So through the overnight, still relatively cloudy. We're still going to hold on to lots of cloud for tomorrow. There will be some sunny breaks, but I think that's the best we will do as we get through the evening and overnight and into Thursday for Boxing Day after a cloudy and kind of gray Christmas day, but dry. No chance of active weather, so you can get out there and travel without worry of that impeding your travel to friends and family. We're still going to be locked in with cloud cover. So unfortunately, not a lot of sun for the next 2 days, stats for a lot of folks. As we get through Thursday and into Friday, we transition into a thaw, and we'll likely see some showers from time to time on Friday, but it looks like the wettest day will be Saturday night, and possibly into Sunday morning. But with that comes the warmth, so it's not going to be as cold as this past weekend. Temperatures tonight will stall just around -2 for Windsor and Leamington, -5 towards London. It will be cloudy, limited clear breaks. The winds will be light, so it's not going to feel significantly cooler with the wind chill. And once again, a few flurries, maybe some patchy freezing drizzle. Same story early tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, we're still locked with cloud cover. Daytime highs at 0 to 2, maybe 3 degrees, which is a touch above normal for this time of year. But look what happens as we step forward through the next couple of days. Oh, I should have taken that out. Avoid that. 5 degrees,
like
it's not going to feel like -11. I'm just going to keep my hand here for the rest of this, Chris. 7 degrees for us on Friday, showers late in the day. And look at those overnight lows. They're going to be in the above territory. So like I said, a late December thaw, if you will. 5 degrees for the overnight Friday. Saturday highs near 12. 11 for us on Sunday. Wettest day will be Saturday, but hey, we're at 12 degrees. And once again, I'm going to pay no attention to my mistake in the graphics.
No mistakes at all. Thanks for this, Chris. And a note for our viewers, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. We will be back on January 2nd. Have a good night.